Here we are, live and on the air again, and I want to welcome you back for another broadcast of R.E. Scott Real Estate Talk. And today we're going to be talking about short sales. It doesn't seem to matter how many of these things we do. The questions continue to, amaze me, but the questions don't seem to end because people who have not been in a distressed situation, sometimes they hear these terms like short sale, foreclosure, but they don't really pay attention to how the process works. And so we're always dealing with new people entering the marketplace of short sales. And so I thought we would try to cover some of the information and clear up some of the confusion and terminology maybe in today's show, and then get to some questions also and see if we can answer some of the questions that have come in related to short sales. The first thing I'd like to do is start just simply by talking about what a short sale is. I get a lot of phone calls, and I know the other agents that I work with get a lot of phone calls from people who really don't understand what a short sale is. So probably the best place to start is right there with that. And the term short sale comes from the fact that you're selling a house that's worth less than the amount of money that's owed on it. Now, before the term short sale became real popular, we used to call these short payoffs. And what would happen is, let's say you owned a home that you owed $100,000 on, but the home was only worth $95,000, or there would only be $95,000 for the lender at closing. This happened a lot of times when somebody would buy a house and then get relocated in a short period of time. House hadn't appreciated, but there were certain closing costs associated with the sale, and there wasn't going to be sufficient funds in order to cover the loans on the house. And this would create a short payoff situation, and the seller would have to bring the additional contribution. So in my example of a house selling for $100,000 but only $95,000 house being worth $100,000 but only $95,000 being available to pay off the underlying liens, the homeowner would have to bring $5,000 to closing, and we called that a short payoff. Well, today what we have is we have a situation where many homes are severely upside down. You may owe $250,000 or $300,000 on a house that's only worth $125,000 or $150,000, and so that house is going to sell short of what is owed on it, and that's where the term short sale comes from. So a short sale is simply a transaction where there's more money owed on the house than the current market value and settlement funds will provide to pay off the subsequent liens. Therefore, your lender is going to have to be approached through a short sale packet and ask them for the opportunity to short sell the house, or give them the opportunity to exercise their foreclosure rights against it. So how does this typically work? Short sale typically works by putting together the financial documents similar to when you purchased it. I like to tell people that short selling a house is like buying a house in reverse. The bank is going to require that you provide all the financial information that you provided when you got the loan. What the bank wants to see is that there is some financial or some other type of economic hardship or hardship, so that they are not simply losing money or eating the loss or the loss in value in the house alone. They want to make sure that this is a shared loss. So you're required to then provide tax returns, pay stubs, bank statements, 401k statements, financial forms that the bank may require, very much similar to an application for taking out a loan. You put all that information together for the short sale side of the process. Now, on the sale or the real estate side of the transaction, it's very similar to a normal real estate transaction. And here in Arizona, we have one additional document that is basically used in addition to the normal exclusive right to sell agreement, which sets forth the commissions and the property and the parties. There's also a short sale addendum that goes with it, and the intention of the addendum is to set out the terms of the short sale, to fully disclose that this transaction is taking place and that there's going to be a deficiency between what the bank will receive for fair market value and the amount of money that's owed on the house. Now, the thing that's really different about a short sale versus a typical transaction is the expenses related to the transaction are generally going to be absorbed by the lenders or lien holders in the transaction. So when there are real estate commissions, when there are escrow fees, those will typically be paid by your lender or underlying lien holders. So we take the listing agreement, we take your short sale documents, and we package those all together, collect those all from you, package those all together, and then we market the home for sale and find a buyer as close to fair market value as we can for the house, because what we want is we want to present an offer that the bank is willing to accept, and we package that offer with the short sale and the listing documents, and we submit all those to the lender and request approval of the transaction, where the bank will receive, or the lien holders will receive, less than full value for the sale of the home. Now, the federal government came out with a program under their Making Homes Affordable initiative called the Home Affordable Foreclosure Alternative, referred to as HAFA. You may see the acronym HAFA, or hear people talk about a HAFA short sale. And what the Home Affordable Foreclosure Alternative did is it set guidelines up for those lenders, certain banks and servicers who participated in the TARP program. And so certain lenders who signed up to receive money under TARP were automatically included in the investor pool, lender pool, servicer pool that made up the Home Affordable Foreclosure Alternative process. And this basically set up guidelines for banks to follow in order to help people move out of a property, get their short sale completed, and the banks would receive compensation for assisting homeowners in processing a short sale transaction in a very efficient and a very systematic approach. And it set out guidelines that all of the servicers were really supposed to set policy around to make all of the process similar. And there are very similar forms now. Fannie Mae has their own, Freddie Mac has their own, FHA has a modified HAFA program, and then the HAFA program, but they're all very similar now, and it's very much easier to process these type of transactions since there's kind of similarity between the HAFA transactions, whether we're talking about a Wells Fargo, a Bank of America, or Chase. So that's the HAFA program. I want to take just a second and just remind you that this is a good opportunity to take down the email address for the program here, radio@rescottaz.com, and send in your questions that you may have related to real estate. Doesn't matter what the topic is. Again, to radio@rescottaz.com. And generally in the second segment of this program, we have a chance to answer some of those questions. The next thing I want to talk a little bit about is we get this question quite often when dealing and talking with people about short sale. They ask if they need an attorney, and if they don't ask if they need an attorney, we actually bring the issue up because the short sale process is a legal process. You're asking the bank to modify the terms of an original agreement. And anytime you have a legal process, it's our duty to recommend that you engage the proper legal protections, licensed legal counsel, to protect you in the transaction. Many people do not use an attorney. Arizona, typically real estate transactions do not use attorneys, but they can be used. And if you go to an attorney and say, hey, look, I'm buying a house, I want to know if I should hire you to help me with the process, they'll pretty much say why. I have a lot of attorneys because Arizona uses a process that's very similar. Real estate agents use standard agency documents. There are a few areas that can be modified, but again, you are in a legal process when you're in a short sale, And I always recommend that you use an attorney anytime you're involved in a legal process. But for the real estate side of the transaction, things are pretty systematic, and a lot of people do not use an attorney in the process. But again, at some point, the bank is going to issue an approval letter which modifies the terms of your original agreement, and it is very nice when I can send that over to a homeowner's legal counsel and get their either approval or input for the homeowner for their protection. And so we're already coming up to a break. I'm starting to hear music in my ears. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. We've got a little bit more to cover, and we'll answer some of the questions that have come through email.